Hey Vineyard Church, so this is day 4 of our Vid Votional series Before Him, and I hope you guys are taking some time this week to get before Him, as we talked about on Sunday, to understand how we are to craft our responses to everything that's going on from a kingdom-centered, spirit-led perspective. And so we've been looking at a couple different scriptures over the last week or so. We looked at Moses in Exodus chapter 34, where he would go before the Lord and his face would actually shine because he was radiating the glory and the presence of the Lord even when he left his presence. And then we looked at Moses again and how he responded to his people when they were thirsty back in Numbers chapter 20. And then yesterday we talked more specifically about how we are to respond with empathy and with greater understanding when it comes to the issues of social and racial injustice and inequality that we're still dealing with in our nation today. So today we're going to go into 2 Samuel chapter 7, and here we see King David before the Lord. And so the how it's set up here is that in the first paragraph before we read here, the Lord uses Nathan to send David a message, and basically what he's telling David is I am the one that has been faithful to you. I am the reason why you were experiencing so much victory. I am the reason why you have found yourself in the place that you found yourself as the king, as the king of Israel, as the one who has united and kept united the tribes of Israel. And so he's basically reminding David of everything that he's done, and he reassures David that when he is gone, that his family, that his line, that his throne will continue. And so David's response after he hears this from Nathan is he goes into the presence of the Lord, which means he actually goes into the tabernacle before the Lord and begins to pray before the Lord. And a lot of renditions, a lot of commentaries say that he actually went in before the Lord and just meditated, which meant he just rested in the presence of the Lord even before he said anything, even before he began to pray or have dialogue with the Father. He just went in and rested and meditated in his presence before formulating any kind of response or any kind of dialogue with the Father. But so this is what it says in chapter 7, 2 Samuel chapter 7, verse 18. It says, "Then King David went in and sat before the Lord and said, 'Who am I, O Lord God, and what is my house that you have brought me thus far? And yet this was a small thing in your eyes, O Lord God.'" And so what we see here is David's response when he comes into the presence of the Lord is complete humility. And that's the thing that we need to understand and take away this today, is that when we come into the presence of the Lord, when we avail ourselves to Him, that our normal response, what He wants to do is He wants to create in us a heart of humility, because the first step to holiness is always humility. It's always recognizing that we're not where we want to be, that we're not as holy as we want to be. So the first step to understanding holiness and becoming more holy and becoming more like Jesus or becoming more like the Lord is that we have to live in this place and respond out of humility in everything we do. So you see David coming into the presence of the Lord, and this first response, this first thing he does is he shows humility in his presence. He says, "Who am I, O Lord?" Like, who am I that you've considered me to do everything that you've done? Lord, who am I that you've actually used me to do and accomplish everything that you have accomplished up until this point? And who am I, and who is my house? Who is my family that you have considered me, that I am actually, that my house and my family are actually worthy of what has been bestowed on me? Was like, Lord, you have chosen me not because of anything that I've done. You've chosen me because you are sovereign. And my only response in your presence because of that is humility, that I will humble myself before you so that you can use me and shape me, use me however you want, shape me into whatever you want me to be. And so I think the point today about coming into his presence in order to craft a response to everything that is going on, that in everything we do, in everything and however we respond to everything that we see, it must always be done in humility. Why? Because humility is the first step to holiness. Humility is the first step to holiness. And so if we're going to become more holy, if we want to become more like him, humility has got to play a critical role at the beginning of that process in order to see that happen. You see it also with Peter in Luke chapter 5, verse 8. When Jesus has this encounter with Peter in the boat, and he asked Peter, after he preached, he asked Peter to go out further into the lake in order to put down his nets to catch some fish, right? And so Jesus says, "Put down your nets, Peter." And Peter says, "What are you talking about? It's the middle of the day. I'm not going to catch anything. We've been fishing all night. I haven't caught a thing." But okay, you say so, Lord, so I guess I'll put down my nets. Even though I'm a pretty experienced fisherman here, I don't think we're going to catch anything. I think we're wasting my time. But I'll do it because that's what you said. And so he did it. And then we read that there was so much fish that he had to call his partners over to help him, take all the fish out of the water with his nets. And it actually became so much that it began to sink the boat. But Peter's reaction in that is, "Lord, away from me. I am not even worthy to be in your presence because I've realized who you are." And my response to your holiness is humility. And so there's a connection there between the two, that if we are going to become holy, if we are going to craft the correct response to everything we see in the world, every moment, every issue that we confront and that we have a response for, has always got to be born from a place of humility first, because humility leads to holiness. And so that's what we have today. I hope that this encourages you. I hope that this allows you as a launching point, as a launching pad into his presence. I hope that you've been taking some time this week to get before him and to put social media and the opinions of everyone else and information aside so that he can speak to us, so we can clear our minds, clear our spirits, Lord, of anything that is obstructing his voice in us. And so as we continue to do that this week, I pray that, as you come before him in his presence, that your desire to be holy like him starts with humility, because that's what he's asked us to do. And that's how David responded to the Lord in his presence. And that's how Peter responded to Jesus when the revelation of who he was became really clear to him. Was always humility that leads to holiness. So I hope that helps you guys today. Enjoy your day. This is day 4. Stay tuned. We'll be releasing another one tomorrow. Will be day 5 of our Vid Votional series before him. But until then, take care, guys, and just make some time to get before him today whenever you can and be in his presence. All right, guys. See you soon.